Get out my way, I need space to get the fake car. Get out my way, I need space, I'm about to take off. Get out my way, yeah, the frequency been way up, way up. Get out my way.
Alright guys, season 2, episode 4 or episode 5, I believe. I'm here today with Ryan King.
Hello mate, how are you?
Good.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, my friend.
It's great to be up in Brisbane again.
I would say sunny, but
I know,
it's not quite
like,
sunny at the moment, mate.
I get a feeling a lot of people from back home are going to do this as well, and they're going to be like, we're expecting to do it on the beach. We're both dressed in bloody.
Well, we could be in Wales or we could be in London. It's one of the two, mate.
It literally looks like it as well. It's like, I'd say, yeah, I don't know, brickwork maybe a little bit posh.
The only thing that is, it's just grey. Is it grey? But yeah, that's it. It is what it is.
It's very grey. We had a little trickle of rain earlier, but it's like, it's just great.
Sunshine State, mate.
I know, it's definitely not Sunshine State. Alright, sweet. Bit of an icebreaker. I'm going to put you on the spot with your 5 favourite songs.
Oh yeah, go on
Would
then.
you round it off literally like boom,
Too quick, mate. There's no point messing around. I don't mess about.
So, go on, mate. Explain your 5 favourite songs.
Well, my five favourite songs. I start with Wonderwall from Oasis. Pure geezer banter factor, really. Whenever I'm in a pub or see live music or a guitarist, it's the first thing me and my mates go up and ask for.
It's a classic.
And it's a big one with me and my boss, Christian Tognini. So we are often in certain establishments where they do live music, and it's the first thing we shout out when they say request. And I've sung it a few times myself, 100%. As if you haven't.
I have, many a time. That's why I was laughing when you said it. I was like, yes, 100%. Didn't we do this in Sydney? Did we do one
Yes,
in Sydney?
yes, I put it on a jukebox 3 times. Actually, I think a few of them are in this as well.
Yeah.
Next one, Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond, many things. It's a big boxing song, which I'm a massive fan of. And I actually did a charity boxing match in April, and that was my walkout song.
Yeah, class.
So, yeah, I just have very good memories of that song. And obviously England in the Euros and in the World Cup for the football, the nation took it over, and I think I definitely felt the love from the song. So that's that one. That's for sure.
Not many times I'll praise the English, obviously, mate,
But we took it to a different level with that song, mate.
Yeah, you do
Took
a
it
lot
to a
of
different level. What was the next one? Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. Don't know why I like that one so much, but whenever I hear it, it just calms me. It's just like I don't even think the whistle is too long.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, no, I can keep going with this. Like I could listen to it, keep going, and you just shut your eyes and you just feel like you're in like, I don't know, like a seaside town in America, and you just sitting on the dock of the bay, really.
Yeah.
What was my other one? I think the fourth was, I think it was Angels.
I think it was too.
With Robbie Williams, yeah. Never got to see Robbie, but I take a lot of my music's very important for me in terms of like, even when I'm in the salon, there's got to be a beat, there's got to be something to it. Angels isn't that, I get that, but what I take from music, it is from in the hair way as well, where even when I'm on stage, I remember when I first got on the stage doing my first show at Hair Expo, and I tried to stick to a script. Shit. Yeah. Oh my God. I fumbled. It was too structured for me. Yeah. So I struggled with that. And I had to think of different ways of how to be better at what I was doing, because I wanted to do a lot more of it. And 10 years later, I have done a lot more of it. But one of the reasons is because I looked at different performers and different people in music, the way that people held themselves in press conferences, like with the boxing and stuff like that. And Robbie Williams he's a massive entertainer.
I was going to say, he's up there with one of the best, isn't he?
100%. And Angels for me is an iconic song that. And the other reason I like Robbie as well, I know it's going down music way, but I like the underdog. So when he was in Take That and he was kicked out for being the druggie, the misunderstood or whatever, like the bad egg of him. And then he was on his arse, pulled out 2 songs, flopped, and then he was going to give up, did Angels, and look what's happened to his career. So for a man, like I like that. I like to see someone do well from nothing, and he had everything, lost it all, and gained it back in, and some. So for that reason, that was that. And then I'm just going to change my fifth, I think. I'm going to go I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles, mate. Yeah.
You know what? When you sent me the 5 originally,
It was out of that, or I Did It My Way by Frank.
See, I mean, I've got Frank Sinatra tattooed on me, so.
Oh, have you? There you go. Yeah.
So this is the whole reason why we do the 5 songs, because music to me is everything.
Yeah, same as me. So that's perfect.
So it's like everything's about music, and I think it really shows people the kind of person
They are,
as well.
100%.
Like it was one thing I always tell them, like Pete, who edits this podcast, he said to me, he was like, we always used to do this at the last bit.
Yeah.
He was like, nah, fuck that. Do it
Start at the beginning, yeah.
Like, it's a great icebreaker, and it kind of, people go like, oh, I never thought you would have liked Frank Sinatra. Like,
oh, no. I've actually just finished watching today The Offer. I don't know if you've seen it. Yeah, it's all about the mafia and the mob. Like, I didn't realise the story how Frank Sinatra was involved in that.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. But I love lives. Like, I'm a very autobiography. Like, as I just said to you then, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Like, there's an amazing one called James English that I love. He's a Scottish guy in the UK, and he doesn't just do celebrities. What he does, he does it with people of the underworld and people who have come good, like from bad, and ex-boxers and ex-footballers, like ex-drug dealers, like all that sort of stuff, because I find that everyone's got a story.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I like the underdog. Like, I like that sort of side. It's not all about the One Directions of this world. Do you know what I mean? Where it's over.
well, exactly.
That they've been made to be that character.
Yeah.
Like, I like people who just, it's raw, and that's what I like the best.
Well, that was one of the main reasons why we actually did this podcast, because I think a lot of people can see stuff on social media and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Even though we spoke about
Yeah, big time.
And it was like, it's definitely one thing which I want to try and get across to people, that not everyone, like you can see some people on Instagram, like we've had like influencers on here and stuff like that, and I tell them, like, I can guarantee some people would think, what an absolute knobhead.
Yeah.
And you come on here and speak normal, and they go, oh, actually,
Not too bad. 100%. Again, watching things that I do watch a lot of TV. The Formula One thing. I thought Lewis Hamilton's been a prick for many years, and oh my God, what a nice geezer. I was like, you've just changed my view on you, like within a program. So I'm not on here to what was the word? Defend my character on Instagram, but to be fair, like I've come across so many people who have met me after making an assumption on me, and realised that I wasn't the person that they thought I was going to be either. And I'm quite proud of that. But I also, it's one of them. This is an industry where it is Chinese whispers, mate.
Yeah.
Like, so people do have an opinion on you, then that person will talk to that person, and that person will talk to that person. And it's like, do you know what? For many years, I felt like I wanted acceptance and like people to like me, and I was doing everything possible. And then it got to a point where maybe 2-3 years ago, I just let go of that, like completely. And I was like, if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. But make the assumption and opinion on me once you've met me.
Exactly, because I can see where people would have that assumption of you because of how well you've done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? Like, as in, they would see you and go like, you're up for all the awards.
Yeah.
Del Lorenzo stuff, you're excellent edges. People would go, prick. Like,
Yeah. Nah, definitely, yeah. But I also, definitely, and I agree with that, like to a certain degree, like 100%. But also, jealousy is, and I've had it. I've been jealous of people, and I've gone, how the fuck is that person there, or why are they doing that? Why aren't I doing it? Like, and then I realised after a while I wasn't good enough. And I think sometimes you've got to understand when you're good at something, when you're not. And I wasn't good being on stage at a certain point. I wasn't as charismatic, or I didn't know myself enough to be as good as I could, because I didn't know how to act, when really what I should have been doing was just be myself. Because that's what sells it. Like, I'm not being, what do I say here? when no, I don't give a shit. Let's go raw. Like I watch enough podcasts. These are the best bits. But like I know for a fact, like I don't rub everyone up the right way. But I wouldn't treat you any differently to what I would treat my mates outside. Like and what I realised was the salon's a bit like that. Like, look, sometimes I get on the wrong side of staff or vice versa. It's not always one-way traffic, and this is brutally honest, by the way. And I just think to myself, my life is you are a very small part of my life that isn't any relevance to what is the overall picture. So the problem that we would have, which is very minute, I would forget it the next day anyway, and it wouldn't be massive. Like so, and I know that if I leave that salon and I feel like I can leave with my head held high, then I'm sweet. But there's a lot of people that can't hold their hands up and say when they've done something wrong, and I think and I found that massively with. I've only been in this industry. Well, I did start off 2 other things before this, but like I've been in this for the longest, and I find that it's a big thing in this industry. When you've done something wrong, they can't admit when they've done something wrong, and I find that it'd be a so much easier place if you get something wrong, put your hands up. And that's in life as well. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So that's what that.
In life, Jesus, I definitely think in life it's the amount of people who, and I know I think the last couple of years, like we mentioned, the last couple of years I've just.
I mean, how old are you?
Like 32.
Yeah, same as me. Yeah. Exactly. Like we both moved here you moved here 17 years ago, yeah?
I must have been 16. So what's that? 16 years actually, but coming up to 17 in August.
Yeah, I've been here 10 since I was 22. Did you come out with your family?
Yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah, see, I didn't. Like, so it's 2 different pathways.
Exactly.
And when I first started, can I do this? Can I do this bit?
Well, I was about to ask you, so it's good.
Yeah,
Keep
all right.
going.
So when I first started hairdressing, basically what happened was my mum moved to another side of London, and but I just got a hairdressing job on the other side that I was on. So basically I wanted to keep that. It was just like as a tea and tidy. I was on £75 a week, which is $130 a week. And my mum said, you got to leave the job, you're coming with us because you're too young. I was 17 at the time. I was like, no, I've always been a bit of a stubborn bastard, so if I want something, I'll keep it. But there was something about it that when I first started, so anyway, I went into digs. I got that's a lie, I'm going to tell the full story. So I was sleeping on a few mates' sofas for a long time. My mum was not happy with this, by the way. I had a good upbringing in terms of my mum did the best by me, but she was not happy that I was doing it. But I was that clued on staying in this salon. I was like, I've got to do anything possible I can. So basically, I doing sofa surfing, but I was taking my bags into the salon every day, like, and going to the council and get my number, going up to the desk, and I used to say that I was homeless. So just to try and get a youth hostel or something like that. Basically, it took 2 months, and my story was, you could count this as fraud, really, couldn't you? But I was saying that I was living under a canal. Like, I wasn't living in the conditions that any 17-year-old should be living in. But to keep my job, that's what I did, and that was from a young age. And like, so finally, after 2 months, they sent me to a soup kitchen, which was in a church. Went into this church. What a dickhead! Like, I like my nice stuff, so I still had all my gear, like nice coat, like trainers, fresh, like headphones, blah blah. I've walked in, I've made a right fucking ricket here, and I've walked in and I took the coat off, hid the fucking headphones, and then all these homeless people were in there, obviously, and like I was going around, I was talking to them, and this is a 17-year-old, wide-eyed kid, like. I was quite knowledgeable. Like I weren't daft as a kid either. Like I was quite well aware of what everything was at that time. So, but what I felt bad was that I was going in and I knew that I wasn't quite homeless, but if it helped me out, I would do it. And I was going around asking for all their stories and stuff like that. They was telling me how to live like on the homeless, like go to bakeries like late at night. They're chucking all this stuff out, all this stuff, and I'm like, wow. And then there was this guy that I'll never forget, and he was a high court judge, gambler, alcoholic, most like articulate person I've ever heard talk. And I was like, wow. But he looked like, unfortunately, he'd had a tough gig, like, so obviously he was homeless, lost his wife, lost his kids, like house, blah blah blah. And he was telling me all these stories, and I was like, fucking hell. Anyway, crack on. Managed to get this youth hostel. There was 75 people in it. It was in a council estate in Hayes Town in West London, and I don't know if it's still there because I've checked. And basically, I got my mum to bring my stuff up, and it was £12 a week. I put my TV in, and all these like lads were like, basically from the manor, so like proper boys who would fucking take your stuff off you. Do you know what I mean? So I'm taking up this widescreen TV, but not like nowadays. It was them ones with the big fucking back on it, yeah? So mum's taking it with me. Everyone's looking at this TV. I'm thinking, this is getting fucking robbed tomorrow. Like, anyway, so she's come in, she's put the stuff down, she's crying. I'm sitting on the bed. This room was tiny as well, but it had a sink in it, a bed, wardrobe, desk, and my TV at this point. It was shared bathroom as well. So anyway, I did that. She left. I cried my fucking eyes out, and I was like, what am I doing? It was an hour and a half bus, 2 buses to this salon for £75 a week. Anyway, saved up enough, and then we had our Christmas do. Went to that, came back that night, got to the car park of the hostel. There'd been a shootout at the Christmas dinner at the hostel. So this is like 17-year-olds, and this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying, do you know what? Not everyone's got it easy, but they get very easy these days sometimes, you know? And I just think, not saying, oh, poor me, what did I go through? But I did go through a lot for it. And I'm like, so when I see people like taking too many, like sick days are an easy day now for me. Like, and I get really frustrated. So I'm like, why? But if I didn't work, I didn't get paid, which means I couldn't pay for the hostel. And it was only £12 a week, but I had to go to the pub, mate. Do you know what I mean? So I needed money for that as well. But like, so like 3-hour round trip for a 17-year-old to go back to a hostel that was full of like druggies and drunks and whatever. Anyway, I did that. Then I went to another salon, and it was one of the best places. I walked in that place and I realised why I wanted to do hairdressing, because I didn't want to do it at first. Yeah. Like, you can hear how I talk. Most people know me from Instagram, how I am, or if you've met me, it's very football, laddie, geezer, should be on a building site or doing something naughty. But for some reason, I went into this salon called Hands, Hanns, and I met a guy who was my boss at the time. He ran out after me after I dropped my CV, and he went, and he was exactly like me. He was 20. Well, in terms of, I looked up to him like a big brother, and he was 27, just bought that shop. It was brand new. He had about 12 staff. There was other people like me, like blokes, but then there was like gays and girls, and I was like, this is not the normal world that I've come from. So it was a completely weird time. And then basically got the job there, and as soon as I picked up a pair of scissors, that was it for me. Yeah. I could have chucked the colour brush straight away. Yeah. No joke. Like, I'd go hiding. And I wasn't the best apprentice, don't get me wrong. But if I had to work, I'd work. But like, also, I hate washing hair now. Yeah. Like, that's my worst thing I can do, right? Are you the same?
I love it.
You love washing hair? Nah, man. Like,
funny I'll tell you why I hate washing hair, right? Because my mum's been a hairdresser for 43 years, I think it is.
Yeah.
The first thing I ever remember is her going, never be a hairdresser, because when you wash hair, you'll be washing knits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So ever since, I've hated it.
When you first did your first one, how did you feel when you did it? Same. I thought I was hurting them. Yeah. So I was doing it really soft. I remember my boss was like, fucking scrub the head, and I was like, whoa, man, like, it was insane. But yeah, so I hate washing hair. That's like, kind of like an unwritten, well, it's a rule now because KT, Christian, my boss, has sort of said I don't have to if someone's free. Because at the end of the day, but when I was an apprentice there, I loved it because in London they tip. So that was an extra bit of money on top of my £75 a week. So I did that, and you'd get like £5 here, like £10 because it was in London. Like you get good tips, and then I'd always see like the hairdressers get tips, and I was like, fucking hell, if I'm getting that here, wait until I'm cutting hair. So I'd stand behind my boss Kieran and watch him cut hair constantly. Like graduated Bob, I was just like, wow, like to see that, and that's the thing. Like it's weird for me to even talk about it so passionately because it's weird how it took over. Like because I didn't ever think when my mum first said hairdresser, I said no, and I'm gonna be politically incorrect here. I was like, it's for gays and girls. I shouldn't be in that. And then I was like, when I went into it, I'm going to be brutally honest. I wasn't around many gay people that I knew at that time. They might be now, I don't know, but I didn't know how to act or like. And then I ended up making really good friends with another guy that I worked with in London called James. Unfortunately, passed away now. He was older, and he was a great hairdresser, colour master, whatever it was. But he taught me a lot, like about that culture, and I was really grateful for that because he would take me into Soho and stuff like that, and we'd go into bars, and then again, just like how I said earlier, just be myself. I didn't have to I wasn't trying to be anyone else, or just be yourself, and then people will take you either way. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, girl, whatever. Just be a genuine, nice person. That's all it is. Like I don't care about what you are or how you are, what your beliefs are. If you're nice to me, I'm nice back to you. And exactly, that's exactly right. So that's that anyway. But
100%.
yeah.
So I know you kind of touched on it, but why hairdressing from the start? What was your why behind that? Was it purely because you kind of got pushed into it, or was it something like, oh, hang on?
I wasn't good at school. Like I was not. I say sick days earlier about apprentices. I was sick a lot when I was at school, mate. Like terrible. And then I played a bit of football, decent level, and then that didn't quite come off. And then I went into carpentry with my cousin with a firm, and like I look at tradesmen over here and I go, fuck me, you've got it nice. Like in terms of good weather, like it's not pissing down rain in the mornings. Like when my cousin picked me up in the van, it was pitch black. It was 6 a.m. in the morning. We went to price this job up. He's gone in. He's run over with his fucking coat over his head because it was pissing down rain. This old duck's come out and he's like quoting up a job to do a bit of carpentry. And I looked around the van and I looked at me for a start and I was like, I look like a fucking mess. I looked dirty. I had shit all over me. There was fag packets everywhere. McDonald's, both could have been mine, but that's how it was. And I just looked at him and I'm like, this can't be it for the rest of my fucking life. Yeah. And I went home that day and Mum had asked me about hairdressing before, and I said what I said earlier. And then she went, well, think about it. Girls, social life, business opportunities, you can travel, you can like meet new people, money opportunities, business opportunities, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, do you know what? Fuck it, I'll give it a go. So that's when I walked into that salon. I ended up doing it for as long as I've been doing it now. And yeah, I owe a lot to it. I didn't realise, but Mum was so right on so many levels. Like I've met girls through hairdressing. Like I've travelled to the other side of the world 10 years ago, 2012. Like I have had business opportunities. I've educated, like all this stuff that my mum has put to me that time when I was younger has all come true. Yeah. So I owe a lot of my career to my mum, and I won something a few years ago, and I got up there and I just said, like, just a short speech, believe it or not, after this podcast, but I just said, look, and thanks mum, like you can finally put me on the fucking fridge. Yeah, and I said that, like, because I wasn't the best kid growing up. I was a bit of a fucking nightmare, different reasons and whatever. But I wasn't great for her. So I wanted to make. When I come into hairdressing, I was like, I'm gonna fucking give everything a good crack. And finally, when I won that, because I was up for that for 5 years in a row. I felt like Leonardo DiCaprio at the fucking Oscars at one point. Like I was like, it's gonna be your year. It's gonna be your year. It's starting to become that way with the fucking Hair Expo now. But like 1 year I'll get it. But that's the other thing. Like with losing, like for me, people like they come up to you, don't they? And I see hairdressing. I do see it as a job. Like I see it as a great career, and I've done very well out of it so far, and I will continue to do so. And I do work hard, but I also do see it as a job. I don't. It used to be a love, to be fair. It was, because I felt like it saved my life really, because it could have been a completely different story for me. Like, but the love went probably about 5 years ago when I realised that I was meeting people that they didn't seem like they loved it, that it was a job. And that is a perception of people again. Like, I saw all over social media, it looked like it was the be all end all of their life. And I'd meet them and I go, you're just seeing it as a job as well. And then I was like, but that's all I see it as really. So the love went, not that the hard work went, but that real love for it, like that. And now I still love doing what I'm doing. I love cutting hair, I love teaching it, I love educating and all that stuff. But that burning love that I had for it, probably that's a maturity thing as well. Like I think the older you get, it can't be a love thing. You have to look financially as well. Like everyone likes making money. Like, and I say that in all my classes. So the way I educate to cut hair is so then you can do things quicker and better with so quality and quantity. So that's the way I help my students to make money, is let's do things quick and smart but still make it look quality. Whereas before it used to be like, I'll do this for free, I'll do that for free. I'm like, I'm fucking 32 now, mate. I'm not doing anything for free anymore. I think people have got to really work out their values, because you can't ring up the fucking electricity bill and say, sorry, I did a really good haircut though. Like it doesn't work. So if you're talented enough to make money from it, I think it's a good thing. And you got to use that.
That's a very good point. I like that. I think our students will pick up on that as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think, like what you said, my mama said it all along. It's a job at the end of the day. Like, yeah, she's used it as a career, but technically her hairdressing job-wise was not really that long. Same thing happened. Just, she was so passionate about it. She was the assistant to Nikki Clark.
Oh yeah.
So
leather pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that's when it was at its like peak, and she just goes like, but it's funny now it's starting to come around a little bit now because I'm in it.
Yeah.
That love's kind of come back a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very different. It's 100% a different love for it.
Yeah, but I'll explain it to you a bit differently. You know when you like first with your missus and you're just like it's more of a lust. It's like lovers, like it's not love at that time. It's lust. It's a bit like a girlfriend. It's like you lust it at first and you're like, this is all new and all the bright lights and everyone's looking good, leaving, music's pumping, drinks are going, whatever. All the parties are happening as well. And then all of a sudden you get a bit older and it's like, I still love you. still want to do all the rest of it, but you know what I mean. But it's like, yeah, come on, babe, we'll just go cinema tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't want to go and do the partying all the time, and it's a different love.
It is a different love. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean by that. I don't even know if is maturity the right word around that as well, because that's your maturity in that relationship as well, isn't it? It's kind of like, all right, well, let's, like, if you save in for something, for example, it's like, oh, well, let's not go and spend $500 on a night out or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go to movies or something.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So, yeah, right, that's very interesting.
And I think when you're a young hairdresser, I know for me anyway, like, it used to make me want to go out.
Yeah.
Like, you'd hear all the stories and you'd hear, like, I know I work in a very affluent area of the valley in Brisbane, and everyone's going to these nice places, and like I'm thinking, all right, I want to do that. So as soon as I finish work, I'm going to go there. And I was ending up out. And this is only until about 4 years ago, but COVID, about 4 years ago, I was out 4 nights a week, and I'd love a pub, mate. So like I'm drinking, I was going into work, not drunk because I could handle my like drink, but like you're not on it, you know what I mean? So I was going to work and I wasn't on it, and then in the last like 3-4 years or whatever, I started definitely calming it down. And my work has got better. Like the way I present myself is a lot better. The way that I hit targets are better. Like that going out, it does sort of fade out, and I think that is a maturity thing. It's an age thing. Like we were just talking about football. Like I played yesterday. I've gone, fucking hell, I don't know if I could do that for too much longer because my body can't take it. It's the same thing with going out and having that balance between your life and drinking or whatever you're doing, and then going into work the next day, because it's hard. Like it's very hard.
See, I find the same thing about work, especially with what you're doing, like hairdressing. I know my mum says it from day one. She was like, if you're looking for a career of 30, 40, 50 years of cutting hair, like your body's gonna be a mess.
Do I see myself doing that? No, because like I love what you've got here. Like your setup in terms of the academy and stuff like that. That's your future. Do you know what I mean? Like where you might be able to sit. You don't have to be on the tools all the time. Like I've always said, when I'm like 55, if I'm not done well enough to have an academy or do something like that, put me in a little barber shop with a TV like that. Football table, dartboard, and just let people come in, talk football, talk sports, because I don't care what anyone says. When you're in a salon, you are an actor. Like, and as I said, I know be yourself, but when you're with a different client every 45 minutes, you have to be an actor. You need to be able to turn it on and off. And I've always wanted to be an EastEnders, so I've always wanted to be in the Queen Vic and just sort of give that. But
Well, I see the same as education, right? Like I chat about this to mum all the time. When I started 11 years ago in education, my mum told me, she goes, you need to improve your acting skills. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, like, you can't stand in front of a class and one of them goes, oh, what about this? And you go, oh shit, I don't know. She's like, you've got to be able to go, oh, well, this was what I'd recommend. I did this, and this, but let me just have a little bit more research.
It's in my bag.
Exactly.
We get them all the time. The product people, like, you've always got one in our salon where they'll go, and what's the pH level? And then I'm looking at the poor bird, and I'm like, oh, she don't know this one, and she's like, can I get back to you? It's in my bag. And I'm like, oh, bless her, you know what I mean? Like, and it's a human error. Like, like you're not a computer. You are going to get things wrong sometimes. So that's fine. But like, as I said earlier, you got to own your mistakes, and that's one of them things. Sometimes it's more funny as well. I think.
It's definitely more funny. Like I love the fact that I know we caught up at Hair Festival about this, but just the fact that you've got to have fun. Like it's got to be fun. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
If it's not fun, don't do it.
No.
Like, and I think that's where we get along with that kind of. You just got to have a laugh. Like I'm all for the serious point of it.
Look, I know what you're talking about, and everyone has got their own point. But as I said earlier, the perception I had of like certain people from what I've seen on social media and stuff like that, and I met them at the hair festival. This is a few different people as well. I was like, fucking hell, you're nothing like what I thought. And that's good and bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's two different sides to it. And I was like, so, I know I kind of want to allude to it, but I don't know. But, like, a couple of lads, they're pretty good at what they do. They're amazing at what they do. But when what they come across as on, like, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff. But then I'm thinking, I wonder if he has a fucking lager, like, or as a drink, as a bit of a giggle, like, and things aren't so serious. And I met him, and I was like, you fucking can.
Yeah.
So do it. Like, yeah,
definitely
like
something
yes,
like
yeah, exactly. And yeah, like great lads, and you know what I'm talking about. But and as I said, they are amazing at what they do, and I was very proud to have a drink with them and say I had a good conversation with them, because it's sort of like I knew how good they were, and I just wanted to see if they had that fun side as well, and they did, and I was pretty pleased.
See, I think like it's funny. Obviously, we'll talk about your stuff with Excellent Edges.
Yeah.
As well, but that's something we've been trying to kind of collaborate with since we started. I always thought that's a fun side of it.
Yeah.
That kind of, I get that. I like that. I think our students would react really well to it. And I was pissed on Sunday.
Yeah.
As I think I don't need to. I don't think people would be too shocked from that.
Yeah. Don't worry, I think I was putting Wonderwall on the jukebox.
Yeah, I know. I think so. But I just went up to Pete randomly. Never met Pete before.
Yeah.
For Excellent Edges, and just said to him, it's like, oh, look, I'm Garrison Barber Academy. He goes, oh, I know exactly who you are. Like,
Yeah.
I love what you guys do. We definitely need to catch up. Let's probably do it when we're sober. And I was like, yeah, that's a very good point. But
He was pissed as well, so don't worry about that.
yeah, I think he was picking the next song on the jukebox.
Yeah, I think he was actually.
But yeah, it's seeing that side to it, and that's what we really want to show as an academy as well. It's like, yeah, we're serious in what we do, but geez, we can have a laugh.
Yeah.
Especially like a good old fashioned ease up. Like we had an open day 12 months ago now on the Gold Coast, which we're well overdue another one, and it was like we had a DJ there, like the place was bouncing, we
Yeah.
got on free pairs.
Yeah. That's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but that's why I like Hair Festival. It was like, I said this to one of the boys who we're talking about. I was like, how good is it that we just got to go like, let's just put our head down.
Yeah.
And just be like, let's just get.
And fucking didn't they? And
know,
I love
exactly.
that. That's so good.
Exactly. But it was great to be around those people as well in the industry who I was like, oh yeah, geez, he don't mind a piss up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And it's definitely like, I don't know if respect's the right word, but I feel a lot more like comfortable in going like, oh yeah, they're kind of like me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, you should never feel uncomfortable. At the end of the day, we're just fucking hairdressers.
Yeah.
Like, that is all we are. Yes, we enjoy what we do. Yes, we make people look good. But do you know what? We're all in the same fucking boat.
Yeah.
Like, no one should think they're better than anyone else. Like, when people say to me, like, with the, like, I don't know, there's no other way to put it, but when you are in the awards and you don't win, you lose.
Yeah.
Like, and people always say to, like, I never think mine was better than that. Mine was, like, I don't, because it doesn't, I'm just proud of what I put out there. If it wins, fucking great.
Exactly.
If it doesn't, I'm happy for whoever wins.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it ties in with sport. Like with the football, I lose or win every week.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I'm used to that side of it.
Yeah.
And to even just see your name up there and your work, that's a win for me.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say exactly the same thing, mate. It's like, from a marketing point of view, huge for you. Obviously.
Massive, yeah.
Like Billy, our apprentice, who was up for Apprentice of the Year, I was like, mate, the fact that you are actually nominated for this,
Yeah.
fucking nuts. I was like, coming from a barber college as well,
And getting into that.
I was like mental. I don't think he really like realised that until he was there.
There. And then that fucking screen, mate, all I was thinking was football would look wicked on that screen.
That's the biggest screen I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think same as well, yeah.
I was like, that was ridiculous. Yeah, no, FIFA would be class.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, it would. But yeah, and that's the thing with the apprentice thing you just said. I didn't even get to that point at that age.
Yeah.
Like I weren't even, my head weren't screwed on. I couldn't think of anything other than going to work, doing as much as I could at work, and then going out on the piss when I could. Like that was life for a long time. So it wasn't until about 25 when I started entering. And as I said, I was up for Rising Male for the Hot Shots team 5 years in a row. And I was like, fucking hell, I'm going to be too old by the time I get in it. You know what I mean? So I think I got in it in the last year. And it was the best feeling. It was the best. There's no better feeling than that second when they say, and the winner is, and you're waiting. And when they say your name, you don't hear your name because everyone's around you and they just jump on you and you're like, fuck me, this is insane.
Exactly. I mean, I know we've spoken about it before on previous podcasts, kind of like, oh, this is going to sound bad. I think it's an Aussie mentality of like, as long as you're taking part,
Yeah.
which is nuts because when I first grew up, my dad basically just said to me, if you lose him,
Yeah.
fucking shit.
Yeah, next time do better.
Exactly. Like you've got to win. That's
Yeah.
the end of. But I remember growing up, like I played cricket and like rugby with a couple of my mates, and like Australia was always the one. They fucking won
Everything. Yeah.
So I thought when I moved here, I was like, they're gonna be so fucking competitive. Like if
It's
we not win.
such a good community. The hair community here is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I know I've just said a few things that like people, I don't know. In terms of on an overall scale, it is very good. Everyone's quite welcoming to a certain degree. Some are very good friends of mine now, and some are an acquaintance. Like, but on the overall, it's a very good community.
100%. I think Hair Festival showed that off.
Definitely.
Like I was like, that was class. Like it's one thing which my mum, again, Jesus Christ, I'm blowing smoke up her ass now, but she always used to say to me, hairdressing was really bitter back home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I used to go to Redkin Tribe nights, I think they were, when I first started. Fuck me, there were some good parties there, I'm not going to lie. And my first ever idol in hairdressing, you might know this is Lee Stafford.
Yeah.
So proper geezer, the way he spoke on GMTV, like which is like Sunrise or whatever, he used to be like the celebrity hairdresser, bit of a lad, started cutting hair in his front room, blah blah. He used to do all them shows, but he was my first idol anyway. And I just remember seeing like it was like your salon would be there, their salon would be there, and you didn't fucking talk to each other. I was like, this is fucking boring. I was like, because I'd be like, no, yeah, fuck it. I fancy her. I want to go and talk to her. No, you can't do that. They're from that salon. And I was like, oh, bollocks. Like, I just want to have a laugh. Like, I'm 17, 18. Like, who cares? But I couldn't grasp that because that's not the world I'm from. It was like, you walk into a pub, you can go and talk to anyone. Like, I didn't understand it. Like, and people say, oh, well, it's like that on building sites as well. I've worked on building sites. If there's a problem, it gets fucking sorted very quickly. Like, whereas the hairdressing industry, it gets so dragged out. And it's like Chinese whispers over and over. And I'm like, just go to the source. Find out what the problem is. So, in terms of community, though, over here, 10 times better.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
I agree. It's been amazing, like, especially having, like, obviously the hair academy as well as the barber academy. It's like, because obviously I had no previous experience in hair.
Yeah.
I got into hair because my mum was sick. Basically, I started cutting hair because she was in hospital, and I was like, the only way I could talk to my mates was by butchering their
Fair
hair.
play, mate.
So I was kind of like, that was 6.5 years ago, I think it was, and I was just doing shit haircuts, but I was talking to my mates. They didn't even realise what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But that's the way I was doing it. So I
Blagging it.
told my mum, and then she was like, "Oh, you should be a barber." And I was like, "Yeah, actually, I think I really
It's not a
like
bad
it."
idea, yeah.
Couldn't get into any colleges or anything, and she was like, "Oh, fuck it, we'll make our own."
Fucking fair play.
Whatever. I was like, as if you would. And then went back in the next week, and she'd come up with the logo, the name.
Oh, man, that's so good.
It's pretty funny how we got into it, and like it's just fucking mental. But it's literally been the best thing for me, like confidence-wise, like the people I've met.
Yeah.
Nuts. Like it's amazing. Like even like we were on the piss. I don't even think we actually introduced each other. It was just the jukebox went on, and then it was like.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I was like, have you got any change with this thing, man? yeah, there you go. Sweet Caroline's going on.
So yeah, it was amazing. Anyway, back to you. How did the whole move to Australia come about?
I was in a relationship with, I met an Aussie chick in Shepherd's Bush Walkabout. And then, it was good. And then they shut it down the following year. I was a bit gutted about that. Big one in Shepherd's Bush, massive institution. I worked at Westfield shopping centre at that time, Westfield, London. So it was there was a salon called Ginger Group at that time. It was, and yeah, I met her, and we was together about 2 or I think it's 3 years, and then she wanted to come back to us, and I was like, I don't know. Australia was never on my fucking radar, mate. To be honest, like at the time, I was West Ham's hairdresser. Which which is my football team, by the way, and I'll tell you what, that was a story. And then so I was doing their hair, I was doing hair for like Z-list celebrities and stuff like that. But at like 21, I think I was 21, so I was 22 when I moved here, So yeah, I was about from like 19 to 20. I was doing like Z-list celebrity hair, like some singers, but the West Ham team for me was the massive one. Being my team, yeah, I did this guy's hair, and he was like, he's an Irish guy. He's like, I've got a few mates that might want you to do their hair. And I was like, yeah, all right, mate. I've heard that one before. We've all heard that. And I'm like, yeah, there's my number. Anyway, he rings me back about 3 days later. And he's like, oh, can you come to this hotel? And I'm thinking, fucking shady, mate. I was like, it was in Canary Wharf. And this lady's come down and met me. She took me up to this floor. And she's knocked on this door and she just left me. And I was like, what the fuck's going on here? I looked around, there's massage tables everywhere. I was like, what is going on here? And then who opens the door? Mark Noble, West Ham captain, my absolute hero. I've never shaken so much doing a haircut in my life. Like, it was just like, oh, wow. And all the players are coming into his room, sitting on the bed talking. I'm thinking, fucking hell, like, this is... My dreams were made as a hairdresser right there and then. I could have given up and I was happy. I ended up going to their houses, went to Mark Noble's wedding, did his hair there. Then I went to the training ground. I had a kickabout with Kevin Nolan because he was there. Like, these are big footballers that we would know. And yeah, proper chicken dance, mate. And like, he dropped me off. I remember he dropped me off at Brentwood train station after I cut his and his family's there. And he was like, oh, good luck with Australia, mate. And I was like, fucking hell, these people, and they got me tickets every week. Like, it was just, and when they say don't meet your heroes, that was a thing that I was like, no, I'm very happy I did that. That was one of the best things I've ever done. And then yeah, I moved. I did the London Olympics 2012. Went to the Westfield over that site, Stratford. Then moved out here 2 weeks later. And then yeah, I've been out here since 2012 October. Yeah, so 10 years in October I've been here. And yeah, it's been that's been a ride. Yeah, my first job was Oscar. Went there for 3 months, and then I went to a place called Fruition under Craig Smith. They were in the city at the time, but then they moved into Wilston, which is a suburb in Brizzy, and I didn't fancy the suburbs, to be honest. Like, it was just too much lycra, prams and kids, and I was like, I've just gone from London to this, man, and I was like, this is too quiet for me. So I actually met KT Christian Tognini at Pig and Whistle in the city. He was watching Liverpool, I was watching West Ham, and his mate was there, Mouthy Matthew, that's what I called him at that time, and he was a Birmingham City fan, and he started giving it large, and then Christian, I had a bit of an argument with him because he was doing my head in. So Christian's come over to mediate, and I was like, who are you? Like, and then I started realising I actually recognised you, and he recognised me. We'd seen each other at hair parties and stuff. And as you saw, we're pretty similar, like football, lads, beer, whatever. So we was always around the same vicinity in these parties. And he's gone, are you a hairdresser? I said, yeah. He said, well, are you looking for a job? I said, yeah, I'll have a job with you. I was pissed at the time as well. I've never been offered a job in a pub toilet before anyway. And then he was like, yeah, ring tomorrow and we'll sort it out. So it's working out well with the move to Wilston with the other salon. So I went in, spoke to Benny, and he gave me like a 4-day trial. And I said to him, I was like, I just cut it. Like, that's my thing. Like, I don't colour. And they were wicked with that. Because that's the thing, you specialise back at home. Like, one or the other. So, but over here it's very different. And so I went in, did 4-day trial. It was meant to be free, and then he said, can you come in tomorrow? And I'm thinking, mate, like, again, I've always worked for my money. I'm thinking, I'm fucking losing out on money here, mate. Like, I want the job, but you're taking the piss. And I didn't care. Thing is, I didn't know who he was either. So for me, I'm just thinking some guy's just taking me for a bit of a rub. I'm like, and then anyway, so I did the 4th day, and he went, yeah, you got the job, brilliant, like, whatever. And then I went, oh, sweet. And he went, yeah, you had it on the 3rd day, but I just wanted to see how far you were for the 4th. And I went, you fucking bastard. And then I had to do training with Benny like every 2 weeks as Tognini's training or whatever, which they still do in the education stuff. And like, because I think what people see with me, they always see that I can do something a bit better. They try and push me, even though I could probably, I never half-ass stuff, but I could always give a little bit more and it could even be better. So he saw that in me as well, and it, like, as every boss has seen in me, that they always try and push me a little bit more. But it used to push my buttons, and there was times where, like, I wouldn't get it quite right, but I'm looking across and I'm thinking, I've done it fucking 10 times better than her. Like, and that's a logical thing. That wasn't me being horrible. It was just like, fucking hell, it's like someone's got them ziggy zag scissors out over there, and I've done, like, as good as I can. And, like, there's times where I want to take me out of the car park, like, and that's not even an exaggeration. There was times where it blew up, but I come through that, and it made me kind of what the hairdresser I am today, sort of thing, which I'm very happy and appreciative to him for. So yeah, I've been there for 10 years. I've had so many ups and downs there, it's not even funny. I've had visa issues. I got kicked out of the country for 6 months because a visa was done wrong. So that's the other thing. Like, it's my life's been ups and downs, but I'm still progressing, even though I've been knocked down so many times. And everyone gets knocked down, but each time it's not. And the sort of person I am and what people might think I am, I'd crumble, but I never do. And, like, when I got kicked out of the country for 6 months, I had to go back to my mum's, which I hadn't lived in her house since I was 15, 16, and basically sleep in a spare room on a single bed, and I had a whole life back here, and I had to sit there and watch Jeremy Kyle for 6 months, mate, because I couldn't work. I wasn't allowed to work even for 6 months. I was actually up for Rising Mail while I was at home, so I was getting FaceTimed it, and I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, what is going on here? I've built a whole life in Australia, and now I've had to come back here and put it on hold. And then I ended up working the last fall for about 2 months back with my old salon in London. My boss rang me. He was like, mate, do you want to come? You look bored. And I was like, yeah, sweet, thanks. So I got back, and then I was doing clients that I was washing their hair and stuff like that. And they was like, I can't believe you used to wash my hair and now I'm cutting it. And I was probably doing a better job than some of the other stylists that did it. And I was like, how far I'd come. Because there's a big thing in UK where it's seniors, apprentices. And I kind of like that old school mentality, because it's another sporting thing. It's like YTS scheme, which is like youth system. Like, you have to see excellence to want to get to that, in my eyes. So you have got to work harder to get there. And if you want a seat at the table, as I say, like, where you get a little bit more freedom and stuff like that, you need to do them extra yards to get there. And once you're there, sweet. Like, but you have to do the doggy work first. And I find that's a pet hate of mine at the moment. Like, apprentices, and it's not apprentices in just hairdressing. This is an overall thing in my eyes. It's a now. I want it now. I see it now. I want it now. And, like, we're lucky enough where we're old enough and we might have a little bit of cash in the bank. So if we want them pair of trainers, we can go and get them. Like, we've worked hard. We deserve that. We can get that. And it's the same as apprentices. They work hard, and majority of them do. But you can't have everything now, because you might not have the funds. You might not have the finances. All this influencer bullshit does my fucking nutting. Like, I was talking to a client the other day. She's a lawyer, and so pretty decent job. And she had, like, a law clerk that was with her, and she's left to do influencing. She's now rolling around in a Porsche and a big house. But where's the substance in that? Like, how long does that last for? Where is that, the plastic credit card? But I'll tell you what, on these things, right? They think that they should have a shitstagram. That's what I call it, where you just show normal life. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't put, like, too much negative stuff, because it's more for my family back home, where they can see what I'm up to and stuff like that. But yeah, the apprentices, I think deadlines are a good thing. I think I'm definitely someone who had to work with structure. Like, if someone said, get this done by this date, I'm getting it done by that date. But I do find with hairdressing apprenticeships and TAFEs and stuff like that, what I've heard and spoke to, there's just sort of like, you do it when you do it. It's like, no, give these kids fucking dates where they know exactly what they need to do and when they need to do it by, because then they'll get through better. But when you're just saying, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the sort of demographic hairdressers are, they're not. There's not many fucking rocket scientists in there. Do you know what I mean? So, like, they see the end game. This demographic don't, and I certainly didn't. I was like, I want to know when I'm doing it and when it's going to be done, because I need to move on to the next thing. I need to make more money. So, how am I getting on the floor? I need to be earning what you're getting. So I feel sorry for him in a way as well.
I know, that's the thing. That it still baffles me, because obviously, like, we speak to apprentices, we teach apprentices hair and barbering, and it's like, we say to them, like, you do realise that once you complete this, like,
there's money in it.
you go on to the next level, and they're kind of like, I don't know if it switches on. It's good when you see that point where it goes like that. And
Yeah.
you're like, hang on, I need to stop fucking around here. What am
Yeah.
I doing?
Like we've got kids, like, I call them kids. I shouldn't really, but like I say I see them, because that's. But and they go, oh, I've got 6 months left and I haven't done my one length yet. Like for Tafer, I'm like, well, why the fuck not?
Well, exactly.
Like it baffles me. It really does. Like why have they not done it? Like, and why are they only realising 6 months to the end?
I know.
Why has someone not gone, right, you need to do this by that? Not saying that they haven't, because there's some good teachers out there and that's fair enough. But there's a lot of people that would have just gone, no, you got 6 months and you need to get it all done.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you start them as an interview and be like, right, this is where I see you there, and do little reviews, like, but they don't do that. I don't know if they do that, but I feel like you'd get them through a lot quicker in my eyes.
Look, we know some people do, some people don't.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I know. I'm not trying to it's like,
Just my fans. No, I'm joking.
I mean, it's very interesting. We get a lot of people like that we've taken over their apprentices, and we're like, oh, I haven't seen a trainer in 18 months. And I was like, sorry? And they're like, yeah, I haven't seen my trainer. Like, I've never met my trainer before.
What?
And then we go out there for the first time, and they're like, oh, what are you doing here? And it's like, we're doing our training session.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, all right, I've never met. And I'm like, holy fuck. So, anyway, this is a rabbit hole I can go down here, right? So I won't, and I don't want to bash people. That's not what I'm about. But we're very confident in what we do.
But that's what I say in my classes. Like I do the cutting education for Di Lorenzo, which is an amazing company. I love working for them. They're sending me all around Australia doing what I wanted to do for so many years. But then I realised that I was at a level where I could do it. Like I worked for another reputable company as well, and wasn't given much of an opportunity really. And then Di Lorenzo come along. And it was just like, right, we want to do this with you. We want you here. We want you there. And I was like, wow. But when I'm teaching in my classes, I say it's not the Bible way. It's my way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but this is how I do things. Yeah. And like what you're saying with the teachers, if that's how they do it, that's great. But can I have an opinion and say what I would do? Yeah, of course we can. Everyone's got one. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way it should be. But like going back to Di Lorenzo, yeah, like they gave me one of the biggest opportunities this year that I've ever had. Like I've been on stage at Salons International on a smaller stage with another great hairdresser, Sean Dawson. Very, very great hairdresser, very opinionated, also West Ham fan. But he, like, yeah, I know, we get around, do you know what I mean? Come on, you irons. And then, so I did that with him. I done numerous Hair Expo ones. Brisbane Hair Expo, like whatever. But then this year, Di Lorenzo gave me my big shot, which was to headline my own show. And I've never expected anything. And I think that's the good thing with me. Like, if I want something, I work for it, or I never expect someone to give me something. So when a big company like that, they saw something in me that they was like, we're going to chuck a budget at you and allow you to sort of like put your artistic flair on it and put your name and your picture as like the main thing of it, with the amazing girls that I did it with as well. I was like, wow, like it sort of restores your faith in big companies. I feel Like, and I loved it. And I sat with them on the awards night. And even though I lost, like I had like people coming up to me saying, like, "Oh, I thought it was your year." You know what I mean? You get all that. And like Chris and Anthony and Megan, who basically are like my bosses for Di Lorenzo, they just, I don't think they realised how many people were coming up and actually liking me, like, if that makes sense. And I'm talking like quite big people in the industry, and I think the respect that I had from them and the respect I was giving back to, like, people were coming out who'd won it, and I was going up to every single one of them because I near enough knew a lot of them, and I was like, well done, like, and I think they like that sort of appreciation of other people, which I gave. And I think and then Chris said to me after, he was like, "We're really happy with how you handled yourself over the weekend. Thank you so much for like everything you've done for the company this weekend, and unlucky on the 2 losses, but it's so good to be there." And I was thinking, yeah, it's exactly right. But the one thing that I'll take away from what he said was the way I conducted myself over the weekend. Like, I knew, and I've been on the bad side of things as well, like where I don't see it as a hairdressing party. I'll drink how I would normally, how I used to drink, say. Not anymore. Like, that was old demons that I won't even go into. But like, that was the biggest thing for me, was the conduction of my behaviour over the weekend. And yeah, I'll never forget that. That was probably the best thing over the weekend that I took.
Didn't see you slinging dollar coins into the
well, they're a big Italian family, so I probably would have had to put Frank on for that, to be honest.
I can't believe we must have put Frank on.
I think we must have, mate. Must have.
Anyway, last one.
Go on.
Last question. What's next for Writing King? Did you like that classic interview question?
Yeah. As I said, James English earlier, I listened to a great podcast. You should get involved. But that's what he sort of ends on. For me, what's next? I'm going to carry on with my Di Lorenzo contract. I'm actually shooting for HFAs on Friday. So I'm going for Queensland Hairdresser of the Year again. It's going to be my year.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, eh? So I'm collabing with Holly Breen, colourist from Di Lorenzo, which would be great. And then I think the big dream is to have my own space. I've always wanted my own salon. It's never been a secret. I think if you get into this world, to have your own space and to be able to call it yours and have your own stamp on a little part of someone's career, that's always what I've wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a boss. Because it's a test as well. So that's definitely, I'd love to do that in the next like 3 to 5 years. I think that's definitely up there. I think my missus, we'd have to speak about that, obviously. Like, she'd be she's very supportive in what I do, very, more than I would have ever imagined. So I'm very happy with that. So something that I'd want to do, especially with the sport of her. I just want to. Do you know what? Even though I said I'm used to losing, like, I'm fine with that. Like, I'm fine with losing, but fuck me, would I like to win one?
Well, that's cool.
Like, yeah, you know, like, I mean? It's lovely to be up there. It's lovely to like see everyone over the weekend and catch up and blah blah. But fucking hell, I just want to have that time again when in between the winner is, and then hear my name again, because I think as I said, I don't mind losing, but I fucking love winning. And that's football. Like, I did a boxing charity match in April, which I won, knocked him out second round. Happy days. I also raised $4,500 for Rise Up charity, which is a domestic violence charity for women, which was wicked. But I've always said I probably would have preferred to lose the awards than lose that boxing match. so that's where I say it. Like, hairdressing for me is not life or death. Like, it's something that has given me a lot, and it will continue to do so as much as I put into it. And it's people like yourselves, like, that are doing these academies and like doing things for the kids, as I call them. And I think that's amazing. So seeing people like yourself strive and that's the other thing that I want to get out of hairdressing, is seeing people do well, and which people are. And yeah, so the next thing for me is hopefully win a competition, own my own shop within the next 3 to 5 years, keep making new friends like yourself, and maybe one day I'll have that barbershop. You never know. And a football podcast, yeah. You need to set me up with this stuff, my friend. Yeah.
I'm keen. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I have literally always wanted to do a football podcast. So hopefully nobody steals this by the time this comes out.
No one will. As I said, I'm a boxer, so I'll be around there. Don't worry about that.
Quick
Yeah,
shout.
that's it.
All right, where can our lovely fans find you, my friend? What's your Instagram?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Ryan King Haircutter. Very simple. I'm sure he's going to put it on the thing underneath. Yeah, so that's my Instagram. As I said, I'm a Di Lorenzo educator as well, so I've got plenty of classes coming up. It's a real good gig for me, and I love giving back in terms of education, which is great. If you want a haircut, I do many hairdressers as well. Cut their hair. I'm at Tognini's in Fortitude Valley. And yeah, and if you want to see me play football, I'll play at Kangaroo Point Rovers and come down for a beer. That's what I reckon, yeah.
Might be new signing next.
Yes, we'll have the shirt and everything, yeah. But one last thing I'll quickly say. Like, this podcast has been a real eye-opener for me. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how this was going to roll or whatever. But as I said at the beginning, I'm just being myself. So whatever perception anyone had of me, it's either heightened or it's got lower. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like,
that's great, man. Honestly, like, thank you. I know we've been trying to get it for a couple of weeks, and it's a bit hard because I'm on the coast.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's one thing which I know I spoke to you about the hair festival. I always wanted to get you on because I think it's like, I do like the fun factor.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially you being in education as well. I think it's, and especially being so young as well. Even though I classify myself as being old as fuck.
Yeah, we're getting there, mate. Yeah.
You're young, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that gives our students something to go, well, shit, if he's doing that at that age.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's one thing which I was definitely trying to get across to people and be like, especially like what you said, you're working with a brand like Di Lorenzo, which is huge.
Yeah, and they've had some great educators over the years, and still have.
Yeah.
So they've had Brad Nata, Paula Hibbard, like some like really good people, and then to have my name in the mix is just is pretty cool. So, and I always saw like when you thought of a teacher, you think old.
Exactly.
But it's not old, it's experience. So even though we're so young, the amount of experience we've got actually heightens what we do.
Absolutely.
So it's great, mate. So thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
Can we
Thank you
get-
very much for listening, guys. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, whatever the hell it is. Give us a like, give us a follow. Give my man a follow as well.
Come on.
Follow his story and follow our football podcast. which
Yeah,
is on the
it's
link
coming.
as well.
Yeah, and we're going to go for a beer now because
I
I'm
know,
thirsty.
we are going for a beer.
Alright.
There's a pub across the road, but we'll go to your spot. Alright?
Yeah. Alright.
Alright, thank you very much.
Peace out.
guys.
See ya.
Yeah, yeah. Get out my way. I need space to get the fake off. Get out my way. I need space. I'm about to take off.